The West Coast Eagles sit at the bottom of the AFL ladder. They have no wins and have the league's worst percentage. They also have the equal youngest list for average age and second least experienced list in terms of average games per player. So are the results in the early part of 2025 really a surprise? A lot of the recent WA hysteria and criticism of the Eagles came from that gather-round loss to Carlton. They recorded just 77 contested possessions, the worst logged in Champion Data's history, and suffered another heavy defeat. Words like unfathomable, rabble, and mopers have been used to describe the club as a whole. Now we all know the Eagles organisation put themselves in this mess, and they have been criticised for that, and rightly so. But in a new era, with a new head coach, this newfound hysteria does seem a bit harsh when you dig a little deeper. Again, the club deserves heat in certain areas, mainly those off-field, but on-field, they are following the normal process of the rebuild. Everyone knows the dreaded rebuild is painful and long. Your approach in this can make it worse or better in terms of results. Andrew McQualter and his team have decided to go all out, not for wins, but for maximum growth and development. So how is he doing this? Well, he's playing a bunch of kids, many of which I'm sure you've never even heard of, and he's also playing them in the hottest part of the ground. With Elliot Yeo injured, Tim Kelly in and out of the team and just about washed up, and Jack Graham moved to a high half forward role, there is clear opportunity on ball. Against Carlton and Gather Round, these were the centre bounce attendees for the Eagles. Bailey Williams was the ruck, Tom Gross, Clay Hall, Jack Hutchinson and Liam Baker the midfielders. Be honest, how many of those players do you even know? Gross is 18 years old, Hall is 19 and Hutchinson is 23. There is no clearer sign than the centre bounce attendees that McQualter is pumping in games to these young kids. Sure, he could bring in Tim Kelly and Jack Graham to play 80% of the on-ball minutes and probably get better in-game results, but long term, what is the point? McQualter hasn't been helped out by Harley Reid, who's clearly way underdone, and McQualter himself as coach has to set the standard at the club where they have slipped over the past 5 seasons. This is the strategy he and his coaching staff are rolling with, and because there is such little experience and maturity in key parts of the ground, results will be rough. It's really not so dissimilar to what we saw Sam Mitchell do at Hawthorn. In his first year in 2022, he slowly began to phase out Tom Mitchell and Jaeger O'Meara and gave heavy midfield minutes to then unknown players in Jai Newcomb, Connor Nash and Josh Ward. They won just 8 games that year. In 2023, with Mitchell and O'Meara traded away, the midfield minutes only rose for Newcomb, Nash and Warple, and they were joined by Will Day and Cam McKenzie. In 2023, the Hawks won 7 games. Then we all know what happened last year, as the Hawks on ballers at their best were damaging. The point is, Mitchell took the leap in 2022, and by 2024, he got around 45 games of experience into his young on ballers. He did the same with the other parts of the ground as well. But what if he had stuck with Mitchell and O'Meara for safety? That 45 games would have resulted in probably half the midfield minutes for Newcomb and co, and therefore stalled their development. This is the choice McQualter has right now, and he is going down the same path Mitchell chose back in 2022. But the on-field performances are correlated with what's happening off it. This is the part where using words like rabble fits well. The whole Oscar Allen debacle was strange. It's a horrific sign that early in the season, he met with Mitchell, and then the club fronted him to the media to essentially apologise. From the outside, it looks like West Coast don't really want Allen anymore. Perhaps they might know some things about his health and body. So to have him as one of the club captains is awkward. The other club captain in Liam Duggan has been pointed out of late with poor efforts, and he's had a very underwhelming start to 2025. Even list management has to be called out right now. In the whole Liam Baker trade, which had the club trade out pick 3, the Eagles had a choice between Hawthorn or Carlton's first round pick in this upcoming draft. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but surely on percentages, you would have had to pick the Blues first rounder for the 2025 draft. We all know Hawthorn was so red hot in the back end of the year and had more talent through the trade period, while Carlton were the opposite. Well, list management chose Hawthorn's first rounder. Now the season does have a long way to go, but imagine the finger pointing at Eagles HQ if Hawthorn end up going deep in finals and the Blues finish bottom 4. It would be another huge blow to a club that has copped so many in the past few seasons. Recently, it was revealed the club also won't be getting any help from the AFL. They're saying the Eagles made their bed and now they have to sit in it. Caroline Wilson reported they won't be getting a priority pick. The other clubs will go nuts if the Eagles get a priority pick. I know that you have to forgive mistakes. We know how many mistakes Gold Coast made and North Melbourne made with coaching decisions and list decisions. But the Eagles won a flag in 2018. That's 6 flags ago. It's not long enough. They've made so many dreadful mistakes. This is the West Coast Eagles reality. A very long and hard rebuild. So all these opinions and fancy words for essentially saying they suck really seem like an overreaction right now. We all knew this was coming. What is the big shock? In rebuilds, you were supposed to be bad, and with the current strategy of dumping senior players or moving them to less influential roles on field to fast track youth, bad results will come. But in 60 games time, it'll be worth it. McQualter will have found a player or two from nowhere, and those playing will have valuable experience and improved strength and stamina. There are actually still more senior players to be pushed out, like Tim Kelly and Elliot Yeo, and the decisions around Harley Reid will also be in the background. In the whole picture of things, West Coast are literally just beginning the rebuild, and they're learning a new game plan at the same time. It's a huge challenge in front of Mini McQualter, who has handled the initial heat pretty well. He's been calm in all his press conferences and explained what he wants to get out of this season. The game against Essendon was competitive, and it does show signs that when the Eagles bring pressure, they can be in the contest for 4 quarters. The past few seasons were really more transition periods and cutting off the fat on the list. Right here and right now is where all the work is beginning, so hopefully in 5 or 6 years down the line, the Eagles are back, moving up the ladder.